going. So my name is Samir Shah. I want to thank everyone, especially BBF, to have given us the opportunity to share our perspective on what's happening in network assurance and the trends that we are seeing. And I generally also want to thank all of the panelists that are here that are taking time to educate us about their experience. So thank you for that. And the final thank you for all the participants who are attending this webinar. Thank you for joining us. All right, so with regards to this, one of the things it was clear, and Daniel talked about this earlier as well, there's a big proliferation of a bunch of services in the network. And one of the things that happens is when you add all of these value-added services, like cybersecurity, parental control, Arlo cameras, smart cameras, smart home, all of these services are going to have a huge impact on your network. And the best way to describe that is having, we had one Wi-Fi managed service in the past, and the amount of data, amount of service-related calls are just instrumental just with one service. Imagine now exponentially expanding with all the other services that are coming in. So we truly believe that the key to this is not only providing the service, but being able to manage and operate those services. And that falls in the data, right? There's significant amount of data that goes through the service provider's network. And we need a way to harness and build ways to analyze all of that data to build a very agile network. And not only build an agile network, but also operate that agile network. This combination of having an agile network that can bring services dynamically on the fly and operating it to the best efficiency, and quoting Daniel, the best user experience. User experience is a loaded word, but the whole idea here is if you have the end-to-end view of your access network, as well as what's happening within the subscriber's home, we can paint that picture that allows us to give them the experience that will allow them to use all the vast services that we're providing them. And so with that said, what are some of the ways we're looking and we're seeing this trend going, right? So when we started with no analytics whatsoever. Let me orient everyone to this chart here. The y-axis shows you the quantity of data, and the x-axis shows you the quantity of analytics. And as we move along the quantity of analytics x-axis, you will see that we're going from completely no analytics to prescriptive analytics. And what are the main differences? No analytics, you can imagine it's chaos. And then prescriptive analytics is more like automation. And so traditionally, all the service providers, and just until recently, most of the focus has been on visibility, which would be like descriptive and diagnostic analytics. What we are seeing in our customer base, as well as what we are seeing in fellow peers, is a quick transition over to predictive analytics, where we are doing prediction on both the operational efficiencies as well as the subscribers' behavior, whether they're going to churn and whether they are good candidates for upsell, what have you. And then now it's more prescriptive analytics, where you're looking at automation, being able to dynamically group subscribers that are having problems and then fix it. So those are the things, that's the trend that we are seeing in our experience with our customers. There's a big push for understanding the behavior of the subscriber, whether they're streaming, whether they're working from home. They want to be able to identify those subscribers and be able to automatically generate messages or campaigns and being able to upsell those subscribers. And that's where predictive and prescriptive analytics comes in, where you can in real time identify these subscribers, group them, and then use your orchestration to provision different services. Now, that said, there's also something that happens behind the scenes, which is being able to constantly monitor and then optimize their access line, whether it be DSL, GPON, whichever access medium, and then also marry that with what's happening with the in-home Wi-Fi, the types of devices that are in the home, and then provide that optimization both at the access line side and at your Wi-Fi. And those type of analytics is pretty much prevalent now, and that's continue to grow. The next level will be automation from that point on. So what are some of the challenges to bring these type of analytics in? So one of the biggest challenge that we have noticed, and our customers have told us, is that it is great to have insights in support. It's great to have insights in marketing, operations. But what has happened is those have become silos. So the sales has their own way of identifying candidates. Marketing has their own way. They have their own KPIs. Each department has their own KPI. What we are now proposing, or what we are now seeing significantly, is an ability to gather those insights. Not saying that we need a single database to keep track of everything. That would be an exercise in futility. But the idea here is to be able to tap into the actual data insights that are from different departments and leverage that to come up with analytics that is very specific to those departments. So the idea there is a centralized insight aggregation platform. And we are seeing a lot of interest now. It's starting to brew up. We're starting right now in the operations area and then continuing to support, and then marketing and sales are going to be the next domino to fall. All right, so what are some of the key stages of being able to do this type of analytics? And I'll go through this in the architecture slide next, but the main idea are 3 stages. You collect your data, analyze, and then act. Very simple. I'm not saying anything new here, but the concept of collecting data from anywhere, right? I mentioned the data could be all different places in the network or all different places in their backend systems. We want to be able to provide the plugins and things like connectors that allow data to come from the network, all the protocols that from the OLT, from the CPE, then aggregate that data to be able to analyze that properly based on the functions, based on the diagnostics that have been identified. And then we want to act. So when we say act, what does it mean? Being able to automatically fix the problem. If you are seeing issues with bandwidth throughput, being able to configure it properly. If you are seeing a technician that is struggling in a subscriber's home, being able to guide them through and send them the exact recipe to fix the problem. Being able to recommend to consumers that we have seen your usage change or your usage pattern change. I know, okay, DPI, we won't go there, but the whole idea is to be able to monitor their experience and then give them recommendations on how to better improve what they're doing with the bandwidth. Those are all part. Now, everyone must be wondering, okay, how do we do that? So there are many different ways of going about and doing this, but this is a sample example of an architecture that DZS has implemented, and it's put out in a couple of tier 1 customers. What we are doing in this area is being able to look at the network elements that are in the network and gather insights, not only from your home, but also from your access network. And then bubbling that up into a data aggregator. And then the data aggregator is able to put it into a streaming platform. And from that streaming platform, it goes into a data lake. From that point on, it goes and different components within the organization, the operations, marketing, sales, can get the insights that they are interested in. And the key component here is being able to do it in the appropriate time needed for each of those functions. Marketing has different requirements on timeliness. Support has a different requirement, and operations too. But the main component here is separating the data collection and then a data analytics component allows a much faster response to the different tasks that are needed for all of the different departments. So that's the main point on this slide. All right, so this one, I want to talk through how AI ML algorithms, AI ML is a big buzzword. I don't want to overuse it, except for the idea that we want to be able to leverage everything that is the advancements that are happening in both machine learning as well as AI, right? So AI, generative AI, can be a great tool for support. Machine learning is where we are focused on being able to understand what's happening in the different facets with the components of the network and being able to react to it. So for instance, I just had an outage here at my home in fiber. I have fiber coming to my home, and literally I was in the middle of a conference call. I hope that doesn't happen now, but I turned off and everything was dead. And literally took 24 hours before I got a message from my carrier saying, hey, you may be experiencing some issues, and we will fix it soon. This was 24 hours later, and meanwhile, I'm panicking. So the key thing here is we want to be able to do this in real time, right? Detect the anomaly, inform the subscriber, inform your technicians that there is an outage, being able to identify fault isolation and being able to do that in a very subscriber experience focus is the key to AI ML. And obviously, as Daniel mentioned earlier, all of this impacts your bottom line, which is the NPS score. What are some of the lessons we learned from the field? I don't want to sit here and say you must have an all-in-one single analytics platform and you need everything to be able to be successful. That's not the point. The point is the analytics and the components of the analytics can be deployed at different times, from visibility to optimization to actually having a full-blown multi-platform for your subscriber. And we have seen that with several of our tier 1 customers all across the world, where they started off optimizing the access line for DSL as well as PON, and then expanding that to Wi-Fi. And that time it was only visibility. So that's our first North American tier 1 customer. All focused visibility. They were still able to help their support staff, help their marketing staff from the data that was already in there. The next one, European tier 1, was able to both leverage our visibility, diagnostics, and optimization. So they had end-to-end both our DZS's Express as well as CloudCheck. Those are two platforms that do Wi-Fi management as well as access assurance. They were able to then capitalize and grow their subscriber base into millions. And then South American tier 1 customer had a very similar experience, but their focus was on diagnostics and optimization on their Wi-Fi network or Wi-Fi service for their subscriber. And all of these analytics lead to a significant improvement on the different KPIs that all of us are interested in, from incoming calls reduction by 35%, and the numbers vary. It significantly improves the amount of call resolution time as well. When somebody does call in, how quickly can we resolve their issues and make sure that there are no recurring calls happening. Make the outbound call field tech dispatches as minimal as possible, but when they do happen, make them very impactful so you don't have a double roll of trucks, right? So we have seen improvements on that by 20%. We also see, as you can imagine, when we give out more services, there'll be a significant push in ARPU. So ARPU gets increased. And then we're looking at being able to improve the overall subscriber experience. And to conclude, I would just want to say, together with network operation analytics, there is a big push towards being able to see the end-to-end experience from the network as well as the overall experience from maybe social media, what have you. But the aggregated insight platform can really help drive that and then give a better NPS score. So with that, I come to the end of my, there were some questions. I will go look at the chat.